See if I can line that right up. Perfect. Oh, hey there! Greetings, fellow maker. Welcome to Prop Live. This is Prop Live from the shop. I'm down here in my shop, you know, just looking for some fallen that have infested my basement here. And we're going to be working on some Destiny props today. Not this one. This is the Boolean Gemini. It's all done. And I'm going to go set it aside. I have another Destiny prop to work on, though. Let's put this down. Burp. This is the hand cannon from Destiny. This is just the base model. This was done by my friend Xander over at ZProps. He has some really amazing kits over on his store. We'll have a link down in the description. You can go check those out. This is the base model that I bought from Xander a while ago, and I really figured it was time to put together. But while I was visiting him a while ago, he cast for me some additional pieces to turn this base model into the Fatebringer. So today, I'm going to start cleaning up this kit and getting it ready for paint. And then I think in the next live stream, we'll do some of the painting and weathering and so on. But today, it's all about some model work. Here are all of the parts that come in the kit. And there's this cylinder here. This is like the ammo thing. And Xander did a great job putting this kit together. It actually comes apart like the cylinder slides out. Once it's all put together, let me grab some tools so that I can put that in there. There we go, line that up. So the pieces go together like so, and then this goes in there, and you can pin all that and it'll slide open to, you know, reload. The hammer can be made to move, and it's super cool. So what I have to do today is just a little bit of cleanup work on this kit. This is all urethane resin cast. It's very well done, but there are still a couple of little spots that need a little love. We'll do some cleaning up, we'll do some assembly on some parts, and then we will get it sanded up and ready for paint. Our kit is going pretty well so far. I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup work. There are a couple of spots, this is pretty common on a lot of kits. There's a couple spots where there might be bubbles in the casting. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to find as many of those as I can and just sort of dig them out a bit, and I'll fill those. You can see back here there's some bubbles that it was cast. If you look at it, it was the resin was poured this way, so bubbles are going to get caught in the top of there. So there's a couple bubbles there, like this guy right here. Just carve that out a little bit, and we'll do some filling in a bit. So we're doing that. This kit overall is really great, so I don't have a lot of that to worry about, just a little bit right here. A couple little spots right there. And then maybe a couple spots on the back of this guy here. But like I said, we'll deal with that in a moment. No big deal. The other thing I'm working on, this is the normal hand cannon with the Fatebringer sort of mod on it. So if you add this light or whatever this is here, then that's part of it. You add this piece here, but also the sight is different. I thought this was really clever that Xander did. He just made the sight so that you could sand this one off and glue that one on. I think the best way I can do this is to just run it down most of the way with the disc sander or a belt sander, and then I'll come in with hand tools and smooth it out. I don't want to gouge it too much. So I'm going to run over there real quick and do that, and then I'll show you the final bit here, and I'll show you how this piece gets glued on. So let me go do that. I'm going to run over to the machine. Be right back. Everyone hold on to their butts. There is what I took down so far, and the remainder I think I will do by hand. So I've got a needle file here, and I just want this to be as smooth as possible. And since this needle file is metal, it's not flexible. It's got a little bit of flex, but it's not very flexible. I can go in and smooth that surface down so that it's level with this, and then I'll sand it smooth, and then I can come in, and in fact I can go along this whole surface here and clean up that seam, but once that's smooth I'll sand it down, and then I can add, actually I can even go with something a little bit more aggressive, a slightly more aggressive file, which is actually not working as well as I had hoped. I know actually what I should be doing is cleaning my files. I've got a brush here. This is clean out the file. Like that. There we go. Now you can still kind of see where that went, but now I can glue this part on like that, and good to go. So I have my baby powder, I have a little bit of super glue in it, and then if I mix this together, I get a paste of super glue that I can then use to fill in those bubbles. So there we go. You can use a number of tools for filling in those spots, but I just have a popsicle stick right now. So I'm just gonna go in, fill that in, and you can do this in a couple of passes if you want. You can try and get it all at once. It's up to you. But that baby powder makes this super glue kind of paste-like, and you have a little bit of room to kind of sculpt with it. Let's see right there. Yeah, you can really bend it to your will. And then my favorite part is I can take this accelerant, spray that, and that'll cure really fast. But I'm going to go in and fill some of the other bubbles, and then I'll sand all these down. The super glue in the bubbles there, and then I can just sand it down. Got a whole bunch of sanding tools here, like this giant file. I can start to get a lot of that smoothed down, get most of the bulk of the material removed there. I've got smaller files. These little needle files are ridiculously handy for doing a little bit more fine detail work. So I can sort of refine these edges here where I went a little happy with that super glue. And get everything nice and flush. Just like that. And then this face right here can get sanded flush with the file. Once I get it pretty close, I'll go over with like some 220 grit sandpaper here and just finish sanding it smooth. I just alternate between all those tools until I get everything looking the way I want it to look. Yeah, like that. It's pretty smooth. Any spots that are still a little bit low, I can try and sand down smooth or put a little bit more filler in there, a little more of that super glue filler. Now, of course, you could do the same thing with Bondo here. The super glue just happens to be a little bit quicker, so that's why I like it. You can see here I did a little extra work on the end of the barrel. This piece was separate and I glued it in, and to get everything the same thickness and lined up right, I added a little piece of styrene on the side of it and then cut its shape. And then again, there was a seam there, so I just filled that in with more super glue and sanded it flush. Now I can go over the rest of the gun, just do a little bit of cleanup work, and I really like this needle file for this kind of work. And there's a seam where the mold was between the two halves of the mold, and I can go over part with this needle file and make sure all those parts are nice and flush. So I'll do that. I'll go over all my parts so that they're nice and smooth, and I'll go over all the parts that I did a little bit of filling on until everything's sanded nice and flush and looking good. The trigger was connected to the trigger guard, and that's just to make casting easier. So I can go in and very carefully trim away the extra material and liberate the trigger from the trigger guard there. So just use an X-Acto knife to do that. You could use a Dremel, whatever you got. But I don't want to have to fill or fix anything, so I'm just going to be as careful as possible and get that trigger where it needs to be. So this hammer goes in there and it opens, and there's a hole there and there's a hole there, and if I drill it out, they should line up perfectly. I'm going to use this finishing nail as the pin, but I'm also going to use it as the drill bit. It should make a hole that's the perfect size. like that, so it's nice and snug, like that, nice and snug on the bit there, my bit, and then I'll do the same thing on the gun here, as carefully as possible, to drill a hole straight through. All the way through this way, so that it looks like it lines up perfectly. That goes right through like that. Now if I clean that up a little bit in there, I should be able to put in the hammer, slide that pin in, and it should be really nice and snug. Let's find out. So that goes in like that. And whoop, that can go through, and it is quite snug. There we go, right through. I'll trim these and pin this later, but this is just as a proof of concept. That is quite snug. I will sand the sides a bit, get it all so it's not, I don't want the paint to scrape. But look at that. Yeah. Awesome. Some of the parts on Fatebringer have orange on them, so this end part here is going to be orange. Now I could just finish this off and paint it, but because I want to be different, I've got some orange acrylic here. You can see this nice bright orange here. And what I'll do is I'm actually going to laser cut that pattern into this acrylic and then glue it on there. So I need to remove that part. I'm just going to run this over to the bandsaw or the belt sander, I think, maybe, and just sand that flush. I'll do that, and then I think later, once I'm getting ready to paint, I'll laser cut all this. So I'll probably do that in the next part of this video series. There we go. So that's just been sanded down a little bit. I'm going to leave a little bit of a circle there so I know where to glue that and how big it needs to be. So I've just sanded the ends of those off, and I'll laser cut some pieces to put on there. After a couple of hours of work, this is just about ready for paint and assembly. Now there are a couple of things I want to do before I start putting paint on this. This particular kit has a conversion for doing this swing out arm. Xander has a whole instructional write-up on his website on how to do that, so I'll link to all of that down in the description, this whole swing arm conversion thing. So I'm going to do that before the next painting video on this, but I'll have video footage of that in the next thing for our next live stream. Anyway, all of these pieces, the seams are all sanded, any bubbles have been filled in nice and flush. This guy's ready to go, the hammer with a little pin in that, and I'm ready to start painting and assembly. So I'll just start buffing this a little bit, maybe with some steel wool, get it ready for paint, just get the surface all prepped up there, prime it, and get it ready for paint. But that'll be on the next live stream. Speaking of live streams, you should join them. I'll be working on this gun again next week on twitch.tv/punishedprops if you want to be there for the live action, and I promise I won't be sanding at all in the next one. So next time is going to be all paint, getting this guy ready to go and colored up. Thank you everyone for joining me on the live stream today, and we'll see you all in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe so you don't miss any of our new weekly prop and costume tutorial videos. For more goodies, head over to our website where you'll find blueprints, tutorial books, articles, and more. We also have a second channel for our Q&A show and extra behind the scenes videos. Thanks again, and happy crafting.